Hello and welcome to the Power BI August 2021 update. In this video, we'll explore what's new this month and see some demos of the highlights. We have some exciting new features for you in the reporting section. First, you can now customize the formatting of shapes you add to your Power BI reports. We've added a number of controls into the shape card of the formatting pane for a variety of different shape options, including rounded rectangles, chevrons, arrows, and more. Now you can customize the look of each of these shapes you create, helping you to more flexibly design, structure, and stylize your report pages. Next, since we introduced the x-axis constant line, we've received feedback on ways we can make it an even more useful reference on your Cartesian charts. And this month, we've acted on that feedback, bringing you conditional formatting for x-axis constant line value and shading for regions before or after the constant line. You can now find these new options in the x-axis constant line card in the Analytics pane. This month, security administrators can define a default label to be set on a PBIX file when a user creates a new file or edits an existing file that has no label. Users can change the default label as they see fit. Moving forward, default label policies will be applicable to new content in the Power BI service as well. In the Analytics section, we're happy to announce that we now support sharing synonyms for everyone in your organization. Field synonyms are an important part of Q&A because users often have a variety of terms they use to refer to the same field, such as total sales, net sales, and total net sales. Now you can leverage your coworkers' synonyms and minimize duplicate efforts when adding synonyms to your models. Next, we have several new updates for you in the modeling section. First, we're introducing a new way to express date and date-time typed values as a DAX literal. This will allow you to directly specify dates and times up to the second in your DAX queries without having to use other functions. Starting with this release, we support either a complete date value or a complete date and time value. Yaron will show us a demo of this feature.
We're introducing a new way to express date and date-time values in DAX. This allows you to directly specify dates and times in your DAX statements without having to use functions such as date, date value, time, and time value. For example, I can specify a date time now using this new constructs called literals by specifying dt, double quotes, and then the date and time that I would like to get. Right, so as you can see here in line 2 of my DAX statement, I specify a var dt underscore literal, which uses the new construct. I've also included line 3 and 4, where I specify two other vars that return exactly the same value, but then using the date and time or the date value and time value functions. So as you can see, this is a new way of specifying those date and time values in your DAX. As a more practical example, let's say I'm interested in a table of orders in 2019. I can specify this using the filter function on internet sales and say order dates need to be larger than this date and less than the other date, right? And I can specify that using date and time functions. I can do exactly the same using these new literals. So I can say filter internet sales order date larger than dt double quote date and time and smaller than dt double quote date and time. And although we're introducing this new way of specifying date times, which we believe makes your code easier to write and to read, it's of course entirely up to you what you want to use.
Next, we've added new configuration options to Power BI Desktop to optimize query performance when importing data or when using direct query by evaluating tables simultaneously. While Power BI Desktop does this automatically, sometimes you might want to influence the behavior yourself. We've added an option to set the maximum number of simultaneous query evaluations in direct query, and an option to set the maximum memory used for simultaneous evaluation. Yaron will show us a demo of these new capabilities.
Power BI Desktop optimizes query performance when importing data or when using direct query by evaluating tables simultaneously. However, in specific situations you might want to influence the behavior and change the defaults. For example, when the data import is taking too long, or if Power BI Desktop is taking too much resources to your liking. Until now, you could only influence these settings by making changes to the registry. But starting this month, we've added these two configuration options to Power BI Desktop, which you can find by going into Options and then under Global select Data Load. You will find the settings under the Loading Table Simultaneously header. There's two settings here: maximum number of simultaneous evaluations. This controls the level of parallelization for query execution. And then the other option is the maximum number per simultaneous evaluation. So this configures the available memory per query. We set the defaults, and you can also learn on how we set the defaults and get some recommendation by hovering over the tooltips and reading some more on the Learn More link that we supplied. Using these settings, you can make sure that the loading of the data is optimized to your machine so you get the best experience.
In the Data Connectivity section, we have several new and updated connectors for you this month. First, we are happy to announce an update to Dataflow connectors in Power BI and the consolidation of the two existing Dataflow connectors into a single connector. Dataflow customers will now be able to leverage a single connector to discover, navigate, and get data from data flows created in either Power BI workspaces or Power Apps environments. In addition, the new connector will provide Power BI Premium Dataflow customers with improved performance when authoring data flows or datasets by leveraging Power BI's enhanced compute engine. Next, we're excited to announce the release of the Automi Data Analytics connector by Ace Royalty. Automi provides integrated software and data solutions for process automation. The Automi connector for Power BI enables you to combine multiple data from workflows and processes into a single data layer on demand without copying or moving data. The connector can be found in the Online Services category of the Get Data dialog. And we've also made updates to the Azure Databricks, Dremio, Google BigQuery, and QuickBase connectors. Expect improvements in experience and performance, as well as new capabilities. To learn more about these updates, check out the blog post for this month. We have some exciting new changes for you in the Service section. First, you can now set MIP sensitivity labels on paginated reports in the Power BI service, just like you can on Power BI reports. When data from a paginated report is exported to a Word, Excel, PowerPoint or PDF file, the report's label and protection settings will be applied to the exported file. Next, you can now leverage automatic aggregations to enhance performance over direct query datasets. These create aggregations based on users' historic query patterns. Using machine learning, automatic aggregations determine, create, and maintain the most optimal set of aggregations for users' workloads. Users no longer need to have extensive data modeling or advanced query optimization experience and can leverage this feature with just a few clicks. Christian will show us a demo of this feature.
Hello everybody. Automatic aggregations is based on the existing aggregations feature, which is really a remarkable feature because if you think about it, most business intelligence queries are aggregated in nature. Therefore, if you cache data at the aggregated level, it stands to reason you will get a high bang for the buck in terms of boosting query performance. And if the user happens to drill down to the detail level, that's okay. The system reverts to direct query on the fly. Now, the challenge with aggregations till now has been that it requires query optimization skills. Well, we are removing this challenge because we will create the aggregations for you. At the flick of a switch, we will analyze historical query logs and identify strategic aggregations that work over any of the major data warehouses. Let me demonstrate. This is the New York Taxi dataset. I'm going to refresh the visuals. This is over 3 billion rows in Azure Synapse. It's in pure direct query. And if you think about the volume of data coming back, and more importantly, the complexity of the queries required for this report, the query performance is actually quite reasonable. But we know that business users in Power BI expect instant response times for snappy data-driven decision making. So there is certainly room for improvement. As you can see, one of the visuals took over 30 seconds to refresh. This is in milliseconds. And if I interact with visuals on this report, further queries are generated and the experience is a little sluggish. So what can we do? We can come into the dataset settings and we can enable automatic aggregations. We can also set up a refresh schedule that will not only refresh the aggregations, but it will also redefine them if required based on unforeseen query usage patterns. This is what makes this a self-learning, self-optimizing system. And here's an instance of the report that's pointing at the dataset that's already been set up. As you can see, the query performance is much improved at just over 1 second. I get nice interactivity, and if I happen to perform an action that generates a query that does not have an aggregation prepared, the system will revert to direct query on the fly, and it will keep track of that query so that hopefully the next time a user performs that interaction, there will be an aggregation prepared. So as you can see, the query response time is dramatically improved. But as the dataset owner, I want visibility of how much I'm moving the needle across the entire business. So I'm going to come back into the dataset settings for the dataset that's already set up, and I get this beautiful lift chart that shows me that in pure direct query mode, I'm at the 60th percentile in terms of meeting my 5-second query response time SLA. With automatic aggregations enabled, I'm up at the 80th percentile. And I can dynamically adjust the number of historical queries that will hit the aggregated cache to, for example, 85%, that will get me up to the 88th percentile, and I can trade that off versus the number of aggregations that will be refreshed so I get good visibility and I can understand the benefit of the feature.
This month, we're also very excited to announce the public preview of the new REST API to query datasets in Power BI by using DAX. Among other things, this new DAX REST API helps to address customer feedback concerning programmatic access to data in a dataset. The new DAX REST API avoids dependencies on analysis services client libraries, requires no connection to XML endpoints, and works in Power BI Premium as well as in Power BI Shared Capacity. To learn more about this powerful new interface, check out this month's release blog post. Next, Workspace administrators can now enable collection of Power BI user activities and metrics for any premium workspaces they own. This preview capability provides near real-time information reported by the Analysis Services Engine about dataset activity. And this allows you to monitor load, observe usage trends, spot periods of unusual activity, and identify performance degradation with queries or dataset refresh operations. We have partnered with Azure Log Analytics to allow you to send your Power BI activity data to your own Azure environment. This gives you up to 2 years of data retention with ad hoc query and alerting. And we've even published a template report to allow you to get insights on your activity data right away without having to parse and transform the log data yourself. To learn more, check out the announcement post and documentation for the feature. In the mobile section, we've updated the report footer to make it easier to find and understand all of the various actions you can perform while consuming reports on Power BI Mobile. In the visualization section, our embedded store is getting a new look. Now you can browse all of the visuals allowed in your organization. Try out the new experience and please let us know what you think. We also have several exciting new and updated visuals available for you on AppSource. New this month are the Floor Plan visual by Simpson Associates, the Timeline Box visual by TheraTrack, the Timeline Basic visual by TheraTrack, the Fraser visual by vPhrase Analytic Solutions, and the Balance Sheet visual by K-Team Solutions GmbH. Updated this month are the Timeline visual by Quirion, the Drill Down Graph Pro visual by Zoom Charts, and the BIPM custom visual by Process M. And this month's editor's picks are the Drill Down Map Pro visual by Zoom Charts, the Cradeck Timelines visual by Cradeck, the KPI ticker by Mac Software, and the Collage visual by Cloudscope. You can find these editor's picks and all of the other mentioned visuals on AppSource. And that's all for this month. As always, we hope you enjoy the updates, and please keep sending us feedback on what you'd like to see in upcoming releases. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next month.